Welcome back to Sim Sunday and welcome back to our Bucket and Spade series. Today we're back at XPlane in the capable hands of aviation's version of Stig, the Real Airbus Pilot, and we're in Abu Dhabi, the home of Etihad. And as you can see, we're in the awesome Flight Factor Airbus A320 in the new livery of Etihad, which looks absolutely gorgeous. And in this video, the Real Airbus Pilot is taking us down to the Seychelles, where he wants to demonstrate an RNAV AR approach into runway 13 at Mahe. Right, let's just jump to the pushback phase, avoiding all of the boring stuff. However, the Real Airbus Pilot was keen to point out that this is a 4-hour flight with an ETOP segment, so he is carrying more fuel than he normally would do on a 4-hour flight, because the alternate today is Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. And jumping back to an outside view, I must say that the livery on this Etihad A320 is extraordinary. It's absolutely beautiful. And I will say the same complimenting XPlane 11's version of the stock scenery of Abu Dhabi International Airport. And as you can see, global traffic for XPlane is providing all of the virtual traffic around us. Abu Dhabi Airport is a very large piece of real estate, so we're going to jump very shortly to the departure runway.
Etihad 622, fly heading 310, runway 31, right, you're clear for takeoff.
Approaching 31, right. On runway 31, right.
Again, I think the stock scenery in XPlane is miles better than what you get in FSX or Prepared. Remember guys that this is stock scenery in XPlane, and you can clearly see the city of Abu Dhabi off our right wing. And I think that I also spotted the Abu Dhabi Formula 1 racetrack. In Prepared 3D version 4.5, I do have add-on scenery for the Abu Dhabi airport, but the surrounding city for Abu Dhabi in Prepared is pretty well non-existent. And at the time of recording this video, Orbix or other scenery developers hadn't produced scenery for the Abu Dhabi airport yet. As I said at the beginning of this episode, the Real Airbus Pilot's objective for this mission is to demonstrate an RNAV AR approach into runway 13 at Mahe. So before making this approach, the Real Airbus Pilot was telling me that one of the items on the checklist is to ensure that the aircraft is talking to the relevant number of satellites required to assure the accuracy of this approach. And talking about this approach into Mahe in the Seychelles, we are going to get rather close to terrain, so a good, in fact an excellent GPS connection with a number of satellites is pretty vital for this approach into runway 13. I'm going to sound like a broken record again, and yes guys, that does mean that once again I'm going to compliment XPlane on their pretty incredible out-of-the-box scenery for the Seychelles. Back in the cockpit, you can see that this Airbus A320 is in approach mode and following vertical and lateral navigation pre-programmed into the FMC. As I said previously, this is an RNAV AR approach, meaning authorization required approach. So both pilots will have had to receive the relevant training in a flight simulator prior to being signed off as qualified to make this approach. And looking outside the window, you can see why. As you can see, the Real Airbus Pilot has this aircraft well configured and prepared as it makes a turn onto final approach towards the runway. Of course, still following the approach plate programmed into the FMC. In his briefing notes, the Real Airbus Pilot reminded me that he's using Navigraph maps and therefore how impressed he is with their accuracy. And of course, this is clearly being demonstrated now as the aircraft turns on to final, lining up perfectly with the runway ahead.
Etihad 622, runway 13, you're clear to land.
Yes guys, I agree, the Real Airbus Pilot does deserve that applause that he's clearly getting from the back of the plane. After another very smooth landing, this time on runway 13 at Mahe in the Seychelles. As you can see on runway 13, it was a displaced threshold, and the Real Airbus Pilot, again in his briefing notes, was telling me that his target was to pass over the piano keys at around 50 feet. I really wasn't paying that much attention, but I do think he made an absolutely beautiful approach into Mahe here in the Seychelles. Which brings us to the end of another Sim Sunday. And in fact, this will be the last flight in 2021 that the Real Airbus Pilot makes on the channel. The last video of the year will be me flying a PMDG 737 in the livery of Transavia France from Paris Orly to the gorgeous Italian Amalfi coast, which of course means my destination is Naples. So until the next video, the Real Airbus Pilot and I hope you've enjoyed this short video demonstrating an RNAV AR approach in the Flight Factor Airbus A320, of course an XPlane. So as the Real Airbus Pilot taxis this Flight Factor Airbus A320 in the livery of Etihad to the gate in another fantastic stock scenery within XPlane 11 here in the Seychelles. All that remains for us to say is thank you very much for watching. Wherever you're flying in your virtual world, don't forget to fly safe.